So, in a way, this question has been asked since the 60s.
Yeah.
Because the 60s was seen to be a nadir of film in America.
I think the 80s. Like the 80s.
The 80s suck.
80s suck. The 50s and the 80s are notoriously trash.
Well, the 50s, I know Tarantino thinks the 50s are bad.
Yeah.
But the 50s had all the great Hitchcock films.
It's true.
And most of the John Ford films that people like and Howard Hawks films are also the 50s.
Yeah.
And all these great Technicolor musicals. So maybe, I don't know if Tarantino likes that shit, but
I think he does. He's a classical Hollywood guy. I think
he's viewing it from the question of repression versus,
Yes. Exactly. He views it as the 50s was the height of the studio system's power.
Right.
So even if they happened to make a couple masterpieces, overall, it was an era of repression where the writer and the director was subordinate to the studio executive.
Right. But the thing is that within the studio system, I mean, what the Cahiers du Cinema people were basically saying is that yes, there's a studio system, but there are artisans.
Auteurs.
Perhaps even artists. An artisan is an author too.
Yeah.
I make this kind of code. It's my design. You know, speak to design people. Even if we don't want to call them artists, you got to admit they're artisans and they're authors of a brand. They have a vision. They have a style. So the Cahiers people were saying, don't look at the fancy adaptations of Shakespeare and plays. Don't look at the fancy movies. You know, the prestige movies. They win the Oscars. Rather look at the noir director, the Western director, who has his style and his vision, who's not looked up to. The viewer in the 40s didn't think necessarily that these directors were the great artists. I think Preston Sturges people thought was a great artist.
Sullivan's Travels.
Yeah, which I like them, but that's not who Cahiers was into.